Hello, welcome back to Wealth Wednesday. I'm Neal Watson, a certified financial pro. Today, we're going to go through 5 retirement myths that may keep you from starting the next chapter of your life. These aren't myths you may not hear about in every blog post, but these are ones that are reasonable, even responsible. But when you look under the surface, they don't always hold up. Today, joining me is my colleague and fellow CFP pro, Nikki Lude. We're going to tackle this topic right after this. Hello, welcome back to Wealth Wednesday. Twice a month, we tackle some of the challenges you face with money. You can catch up on past episodes on our website. That is cfswb.com. They're also here on our YouTube channel. If you like this video, be sure to smash that like button. Nikki, the first myth that we have to tackle is it's not okay to do a big splurge. And we've all had clients feel immense stress over a big purchase. Maybe it's an RV, their dream vacation, or even just a major home repair, even when they can't afford it. What's going on there?
Yes, Neal, this is, a really common thing. People spend all their lives saving in retirement, and then that transition to spending in retirement can sometimes be difficult, especially on big purchases on themselves. So sometimes, it feels irresponsible to people, but as long as a big purchase is planned for, that can be okay. Knowing how it affects your financial plan, it's okay to spend on even bigger things as long as you have the money to do that during your retirement years.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about saying yes to everything. It's about building your plan to include some of those contingencies and doing some of those things that really matter to you.
Right. Biggest expenses, like I said, they're bound to happen, whether it's a new roof on your house, a car purchase. All kinds of different expenses come up in retirement that weren't necessarily even planned for. But as long as you dig into the numbers and that you know that they fit your financial situation, make sure that the math works out, that if you take large distributions, that you're able to still live comfortably. It's okay to spend those dollars.
Yeah. Myth number 2, you must pay off your house before retiring. Now, entering retirement mortgage free is beneficial, but it's not necessarily a hard and fast rule, is it?
No, it's a nice goal to have, but I see this a lot, especially with clients wanting to dig into their retirement accounts to pay off their mortgages right before retirement. But sometimes this can honestly be a mistake, especially if it's going to cost you a lot of tax dollars. So drawing from like a 401k or an IRA, you're going to have to pay taxes on that. And these are typically right before retirement are going to be your highest earning years. So it might be that you just, make double payments or make larger payment amounts, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay off the whole balance right before retirement.
Yeah, being mortgage free does change your cash flow picture because it's often a big expense, but it isn't necessarily a deal breaker either. There are a lot of factors to consider when doing this, isn't there?
Yeah, one of the biggest factors is making sure that that monthly payment actually fits your budget and, allows you to still spend comfortably. Because if your monthly payment is too much to bear in retirement, that's probably a case for paying that down early.
This next myth is my favorite. Market crashes get all the media attention, but they're not the biggest threat to your retirement, are they?
Right. Not always. People forget that, emotional decision-making, inflation, and things like scams and fraud, they can be far more damaging to your long-term retirement success rate than necessarily a market crash. Crashes happen, but honestly, most people, even though they see a dip in their account balances, they end up making money whenever the market rebounds. So that's not the biggest threat.
Yeah, I've been through 2 of the worst crashes in the last 50 years, and the market crash was not the sole purpose that people ran out of money when they did run out. The market does recover and go on to create more wealth, just as you said, but sometimes it's the spending that gets in the way.
Right. Again, going back to big purchases, understanding what you can spend and having guardrails on that. If you're overspending consistently and your growth rates aren't keeping up, then that's going to be a recipe for disaster. You have to have the mindset of fitting within, your means during retirement. And again, it all goes back to the planning, understanding if you're going to spend more, what does that do to your, longer term financial plan?
So our next myth is a little bit tricky, and the myth is that it is best to spend less, but too much caution may not be as good as you think.
Right. I mean, I see sometimes that, people, it's a hard transition from saving all your life to then going to spending. And people often sometimes spend less out of fear. They think that they're going to run out of money when in reality, they couldn't, spend enough in a year to spend through all of their assets. And they look back, over time and wish maybe they had traveled more or done things that they had always dreamed of and they had the resources to do so, but just weren't willing to take the risk to do it.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about healthy life expectancy, and there's a limited number of time that we all have that will allow us to do all the things that we want to do. And if you don't take advantage of them while you can, you're going to look back with a lot of regrets. Retirement's about balance, not just preservation, and it's about being happy. So if your plan gives you permission, enjoy it.
Yeah. Planning is what gives people the peace of mind to spend confidently.
Nikki, you've done a lot of work with the charitable side of things. The last myth that we have today is it's best to leave money to charity after you pass away. And legacy is important to a lot of people, but they often assume that charitable giving should come at the end, but that's not always ideal.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be given at death. If it's given during your lifetime, there are often tax benefits. And then, even better than that, you get to actually see the resources being utilized while you're living. And you can see how these charities actually spend your money. Make sure that it's projects that you want to support. And you can get a lot of joy out of, seeing your money go towards, good things in the community.
Yeah, and there's some really good tools like donor advised funds and the qualified charitable distributions that come from IRAs that can really help the tax side of this for you as well.
Yeah. On the tax side, I mean, I definitely tell clients, review this with your accountant, but, all of these things can be resources to you. It can make it feel more personal and joyful, just giving back to your community.
These myths might sound harmless, but if they steer your decisions, they can take your retirement a little bit off course. If anything here sounded familiar or made you pause, you can visit CFSWV, set up a time to talk with Nikki, myself, or any of the others on our team, and we can help put a real plan behind your retirement dreams. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's at Commonwealth Financial. And be sure to share this episode with someone who still believes one of these myths. Thanks for watching Wealth Wednesday. We'll see you next time.